All right, welcome back to The Deep Dive, the show where we slice through the noise, grab a stack of sources, and unpack the most important knowledge nuggets just for you. Today, we are embarking on a journey into a topic that touches, well, pretty much everyone's life at some point: how to cultivate a more positive mindset. But we're doing it with a really unique lens today. We're diving deep into a book titled Menjadi Pribadi Positif, which translates roughly to becoming a positive person.
Mm.
Now, what immediately sets this source material apart is its origin story. This isn't a book from, a single world-renowned guru or some famous expert. This is actually an anthology, a collection of insights written by the top graduates of the third batch of an article writing school in Indonesia. It's like looking at positive psychology through the eyes of students who are actively learning and processing these ideas themselves, captured through collaborative writing. So our mission today is pretty clear. We're going to extract the core strategies these student authors present, try to understand the unique perspective that comes from their writing and learning journey, and see how this book can serve as a practical, maybe more relatable guide that you can use right now to cultivate a more positive mindset in your own life.
And it's absolutely worth noting, positive thinking is a huge topic. It resonates universally, right? So many people are looking for ways to enhance their outlook. It's discussed everywhere, but this source material, it offers a perspective grounded in the very recent experience of learners, people who've just gone through a structured process to articulate these ideas. And that gives the book a different kind of weight, I think, a specific, relatable angle that, I'm very eager to explore with you.
Okay, so let's unpack this. First step, let's get a really clear picture of the source itself and understand, its genesis. Where did it come from? As we said, the book is titled Menjadi Pribadi Positif, and it's explicitly presented right there on the cover and in the foreword as the work of the Lulusan Terbaik Sekolah Menulus article Angkatan 3, which means literally the top graduates of the third batch of this specific article writing school. And when you actually look at the cover, it's not just one name or two. There's this long list. Zainazan Ardia Badai, Danny, Daya, Eva, Galu, Gandhi, Linda, Miftaku. It goes on. Muthi, Rina, Vira, Zaima Ali, Ami Devi, Idi, Ila, Ivan, Ardiwar, Efan, Hamida, Kemsa, Riita, Popo, Kartika, Asep, Dian, Dewa, Lilis, Maria, Masyan R, Nadia, Novida, Nuka, Nuriam Ratu, Try Skuti, Try Yaya. Phew, that extensive list isn't just filler text, right? It's concrete proof this is a truly collaborative anthology, a mosaic of distinct voices, each student contributing their own perspective, their own article on this shared theme.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here, and this goes in the foreword, is the origin story behind the book. It tells us this is the direct, tangible output of a writing training program. But the program wasn't just focused on teaching the mechanics of writing articles or, mastering grammar. A really significant aim was actually to provide motivation and build confidence in the students. And crucially, they achieved this through engaging with literature and the writing process itself, which raises such an important question for me. How did the very act of writing about positive thinking, the process of wrestling with these complex ideas, structuring thoughts, putting abstract concepts into concrete words, maybe reflecting on their own lives through writing, how did that help these students not just learn about positive thinking, but internalize it, explore it, and articulate it in a way that felt authentic to them? It wasn't just theory, it was practical, creative application, learning through doing, essentially.
Exactly. So the book itself, its physical existence, stands as this powerful testament, not just to the principles it discusses, but also to the transformative power of that kind of training and, frankly, the potential of collective effort. It's published by Penerbit Indu Professional, which is affiliated with Sekolah Menulus Indonesia, the Indonesia Article Writing School. So that connection back to the learning environment is really clear. And the foreword describes it quite simply, and I think appealingly, as a simple motivation and self-improvement book. Its stated goal is clear: to guide readers to change their mindset, to fundamentally shift their internal landscape, to always think positively. It's framed not as some dense academic text, but as a practical, accessible guide born from a place of learning and shared growth.
That context really does set the stage perfectly for our deep dive. We're looking at a book conceived within a learning environment, written by individuals who are actively processing these concepts themselves while learning to write, and presented as a practical, relatable guide for others maybe starting a similar journey. And the collaborative nature, with so many distinct student voices, strongly suggests the book offers a rich tapestry of perspectives on positive thinking. It reflects the diverse experiences within that group. It hints that there isn't just one single path to positivity, right? But many valid ways to approach it.
Right.
Okay, so that's the book and where it came from, this unique collaborative project from a writing school. Let's transition now to the absolute starting point. Why? Why is positive thinking even necessary? Why dedicate a whole book to it? And the back cover gives us a really relatable and honestly quite insightful entry point into why this topic is so crucial. It says in Indonesian, berpikir positif. Terkadang hidup tidak tenang, itu bukan karena kita banyak masalah, tapi karena masalah kecil diperbesar, masalah besar dibesar-besarkan, dan kita terlalu memikirkan peluang-peluang negatif yang akan terjadi. Let's break that down. The translation is something like, positive thinking. Sometimes life isn't peaceful, not because we have many problems, but because small problems get exaggerated, big problems get amplified, and we spend too much time thinking about the negative possibilities that might happen.
Wow, that resonates so deeply, doesn't it?
It really does.
It's suggesting it's not necessarily the objective size or even the number of challenges we face that steals our peace. It's our internal response, our cognitive habits. Specifically, that tendency to blow small things out of proportion, make big things seem even bigger, and maybe most importantly, constantly dwell on potential negative outcomes that haven't even occurred. That's what messes with our tranquility.
Exactly. The back cover really pinpoints that cara berpikir dan bertindak yang keliru, a wrong way of thinking and acting, is identified as a core issue. It explicitly states that our mindset, our reactive patterns, are often the primary obstacles to a peaceful life, more so perhaps than the external circumstances themselves. This aligns so well with ideas in psychology about cognitive appraisal. How we interpret events shapes our response. The book seems to be saying the problem often isn't the world, it's how we're processing it internally.
And what I really appreciate is that they're completely honest about how tough this is in practice. The back cover doesn't sugarcoat it at all. It continues, satu hal yang harus dilakukan adalah berpikir positif. Mungkin ini kalimat yang sudah biasa didengar oleh telinga kita, tapi nyatanya menanamkan berpikir positif dalam diri ketika masalah itu pasti sangatlah sulit. Which translates to, one thing we must do is think positively. Maybe the sentence is common to our ears, but in reality, instilling positive thinking within ourselves when there is a problem is certainly very difficult. They're not saying it's easy, not some simple switch you flip. They're directly acknowledging that while we know the concept, actually doing it, training your mind to stay positive, especially when you're stressed or facing challenges, that's genuinely hard work.
It is.
It takes conscious, consistent effort, often pushing against our natural tendency to worry or focus on threats.
And that upfront acknowledgement of the difficulty is so crucial, I think. It immediately frames the book not as, naive platitudes or just feel-good fluff, but as a practical guide designed precisely to help you navigate this inherent human challenge. It implies the strategies inside are grounded in the reality that becoming positive takes effort. And here are tools to help make that effort more effective.
So, given that difficulty they acknowledge, the book absolutely has to offer practical, actionable strategies, right? Let's dive into how it suggests we actually tackle this, particularly that challenge of managing those ingrained negative thoughts the back cover highlights. The table of contents, which is basically the roadmap these students created, gives us some excellent clues about the techniques and areas the book covers.
Yes, looking at those chapter titles is very revealing about their approach. Several titles jump out as directly addressing negativity. There's one called Mengatasi Kecenderungan Berpikir Negatif, which means overcoming negative thinking tendencies. Just that title implies a recognition of these default patterns, these habits of negative thought, and suggests the book will offer ways to first identify and then actively confront and change those patterns. Then there's another fascinating one, Stop Thinking Negative to Negative Word. This is intriguing. It suggests a focus on language itself. Perhaps how the specific words we use, either in our internal self-talk or when speaking to others, actually influence our thoughts, our feelings, our whole perception of things.
That title, Stop Thinking Negative to Negative Word? Yeah, that's where it gets really interesting for me. What exactly does that mean? Are they saying literally stop using words like problem or difficult or failure, or is it more nuanced? Like maybe reframing how we perceive concepts usually labeled negative, seeing them as challenges maybe, or opportunities instead. It really feels like the book is trying to go beyond just a simple think happy thoughts mantra and get into the mechanics of how our thought processes, even our language, shape our reality.
It most likely involves a conscious effort, I'd imagine. Monitoring both our internal dialogue, that constant stream of thoughts, and our external expression, the words we choose. It's probably about recognizing the power of the labels we stick on experiences and actively choosing frames that are more constructive or at least more realistic instead of just defaulting to negative ones. And then there's this key chapter title that seems to pull several important strategies together. Seni berpikir positif, jangan mempermasalahkan masalah, dan bersyukur. That translates directly to the art of positive thinking. Don't worry about problems and be grateful.
Wow. That title is packed. It feels like a three-part framework right there. First, calling it the art or skill of positive thinking that immediately elevates it. It's not passive. It suggests it's something you learn, you practice, you refine, like any art.
Exactly. Not something you just are or aren't.
Right. Then, Jungin Mempamaisalakan Masala, literally, don't problemize problems or don't worry about problems. That sounds like a directive to actively choose not to dwell on difficulties. Shifting focus away from rumination. Doesn't mean ignoring problems, maybe, but approaching them differently.
That's how I read it. And thirdly, bersyukur, be grateful. That's a cornerstone practice in positive psychology, isn't it? Actively cultivating appreciation for what you have. It's such a powerful antidote to focusing on what's wrong or missing. So that combination directly links attitude, the art, to action, not dwelling, and perspective, gratitude. It suggests a really holistic approach.
So it's presented as anything but passive. It's about actively shaping your mindset through intention, deliberate focus, or maybe deliberate unfocus on dwelling and actively cultivating appreciation. What other strategies pop out from the excerpts?
Well, from the section called Menanamkan Keyakinan pada Diri Sendiri untuk Mencapai Kehidupan yang Lebih Sejahtera. That's about instilling self-confidence to achieve a more prosperous life. There's a very strong emphasis on the role that effort, knowledge, persistence, and even sacrifice play in achieving your goals and building confidence. The text uses this great analogy of a farmer, planting seeds, working diligently, tilling, watering, weeding to get a harvest. It's a beautiful illustration that positive outcomes, achieving goals, building a confident life, it all requires diligent, sustained work. It's not just wishing for the harvest, it's doing the work in the field. This directly counters any idea that positive thinking means just sitting back and hoping things magically get better.
Ugh, that's such a crucial distinction. It really grounds the book's message, doesn't it? It directly links positive thinking and self-confidence, not just to feeling good, but to actively pursuing goals, engaging in productive work, building a better life. It's about motivated action fueled by a positive outlook that still acknowledges reality and the need for effort. The text also explicitly mentions Mari Berdiscipline, let's be disciplined, and Mari Bekerja, let's work, as essential parts of positive living, right within that section on confidence and prosperity, discipline and hard work. They're often seen as separate from positive thinking, maybe even the opposite if you think positivity is just about ease. But here they seem framed as fundamental, essential components of a genuinely positive, productive, and yes, prosperous life, not just materially, but holistically.
Indeed. The book seems to advocate for a view where positive thinking isn't some fluffy cushion making life easy. It's the foundational mindset that enables productive, disciplined action. It's about having the internal state that lets you channel your energy constructively, have the confidence to face risks that come with taking action. That phrase, menghadapi risiko yang kita lakukan, facing the risks we take, and overcome fear. Menghindari rasa takut, not by denying fear, but by acting despite it, rooted in belief in yourself and the value of your efforts. It grounds positive thinking firmly in reality, effort, and resilience.
Okay, let's take all of this now and connect it specifically to you, the listener, particularly if you are a student, maybe a learner of any kind, facing information overload, academic pressure, exam stress, or navigating a demanding job. How does this book, with its unique origin, speak directly to that experience?
Well, the book's origin story with the article writing school students is absolutely central here. They were learners when they wrote this. They were navigating their own learning process, facing deadlines, getting feedback, grappling with new stuff, just like students or professionals in any demanding field. They inherently understand the pressures. And the table of contents reflects this directly. It includes several chapters that specifically address student challenges, making the book highly relevant to that audience.
Right. We see chapters titled Sentuhan Doa Mengatasi Kegaloan sa Belajar, Touch of Prayer to Overcome Learning Anxiety, and Berpikir Positif Ketika Ujian, or Positive Thinking When Taking Exams. Those titles are incredibly specific. They show the authors acknowledging the distinct stresses learners face, that feeling of kegalon, anxiety during study, the intense pressure of exams. It's not just generic advice.
Precisely. The book doesn't shy away from applying its principles to these very specific, often high-stress scenarios. It suggests using positive thinking techniques right in the thick of it, whether that involves using prayer as a source of calm and focus amidst study anxiety, or consciously adopting a resilient, positive mindset, specifically when facing exams. The principles are tailored to the practical reality of being a student. It's about translating that art of positive thinking into strategies for overcoming academic hurdles.
And there's that chapter titled Menjadi Remaja Smart Zaman Now, Becoming a Smart Teenager Now. That suggests an even more specific audience within the learning context. It implies addressing younger learners directly, maybe using language and examples relevant to their world, their social pressures, their specific modern challenges. It really indicates the book aims to help students navigate not just academics but adolescence too, with a better mental attitude. Connecting positivity to a broader idea of being smart that includes emotional intelligence and resilience.
But while it's clearly rooted in the student experience, the book's scope definitely goes beyond the classroom or being a teenager. The table of contents and the excerpts we have point clearly to much broader practical applications in daily life for, well, anyone.
Absolutely. So how can someone take these ideas, managing negative thoughts, cultivating discipline, building confidence, and apply them, say, at work or in their family life?
Chapters like Mananamkan Kebiasaan Optimus, instilling optimistic habits, and that key chapter we mentioned, Mananamkan Keyakinan pada diri sendiri untuk mencapai kehidupan yang lebih sejahtera, instilling self-confidence to achieve a more prosperous life. These are universal. Applying optimism means consciously choosing to approach challenges at work, maybe a difficult project, a tough client, team dynamics, or at-home family conflicts, financial stress, household issues with a hopeful outlook. It's about actively looking for possibilities, for solutions or growth, rather than just focusing on the difficulties or the worst-case scenarios.
And that discipline aspect, Maribor discipline, the book keeps mentioning, that's not just for studying, is it? It's crucial in work and family life, too. Meeting deadlines, managing your workload, prioritizing tasks, consistency, that all takes discipline, which the book seems to link directly to a positive, functional life.
Totally.
And similarly at home, right, managing household chores consistently, sticking to a budget, setting up positive routines for the family that requires discipline too. The book seems to connect self-discipline to having more control, reducing chaos, and creating a more positive environment everywhere.
Yes, and the inclusion of a specific chapter titled Discipline Rumah Keluarga, Family House Discipline, really targets the home environment explicitly. It reinforces this idea that applying structured, positive habits, a degree of discipline within the family unit, is seen as a way to reduce stress, create harmony, and foster better relationships. It's about positive structure.
There's also that chapter, Mengatasi Fear of Rejection, Ketika PDKT, Overcoming Fear of Rejection During PDKT, which you mentioned refers to early dating stages in Indonesia. While the example might be dating, that core principle, overcoming fear of rejection, is so much broader, isn't it? For personal relationships, professional life,
Absolutely.
and facing risks at work, as we touched on. It seems the book encourages applying positive thinking and confidence to overcome fears wherever vulnerability or potential rejection exists.
It absolutely does. Whether it's asking for that promotion, pitching a new idea, having a tough but necessary conversation with someone, or putting yourself out there personally. A positive mindset and the self-confidence discussed in Menanamkan Keyakinan pada diri sendiri are vital. They enable you to take those necessary steps despite fear and, critically, to handle setbacks or criticism constructively. Learn from them, move forward, don't get crushed. The book clearly frames self-confidence and effort as linked paths to a more prosperous life, which, in context, likely means more than just money. It probably includes well-being, fulfillment, good relationships, inner peace.
We've mentioned a few times how this book is a collaborative work written by many students. How does the book itself, as a project born from this collective effort in the writing school, kind of embody the power of collaboration and serve as an inspiration, thinking about the author experience?
This is, I think, one of the most unique and powerful aspects here. It's not just the content, it's the story of the book. The foreword explicitly says this book is the direct result of a training program that motivated students and produced Karya Inspiratif inspirational work. This book is that work. Its very existence is like living proof of the principles. It talks about effort, persistence, collaboration, leading to something positive and impactful.
So the physical book demonstrates that a shared learning experience, a common goal, and collective effort can actually lead to something significant and meaningful, something that goes out into the world and helps others. It shows that individuals with a common purpose, supported by a structure like the school, can pool their talents and perspectives and create something impactful that maybe none could have done alone.
Precisely. Each student writer brought their own voice, their own struggles, their own understanding of striving for positivity, likely shaped by the training. Bringing these diverse voices together highlights that becoming positive isn't one-size-fits-all. It can be approached in many ways, drawing on different experiences. It shows the strength and diversity of perspective, all contributing to the larger theme. It's a perfect example of how collaboration can amplify individual insights and create something richer, more comprehensive, maybe more relatable than a single author could produce. So yeah, it's not just a book about inspiration. Its origin story is an inspiration of collective achievement.
Okay, let's pull out some specific phrases or sentences from the source material that really stand out, those nuggets of wisdom, those powerful points that stick with you and seem to capture the core message.
One that definitely captures the core challenge and reflects that realistic approach we talked about is that line from the back cover. Menanamkan berpikir positif dalam diri ketika ada masalah itu pasti sangatlah sulit. Instilling positive thinking within ourselves when there is a problem is certainly very difficult. Just stating that difficulty up front is so validating, it sets a realistic tone, acknowledging the struggle.
Yeah, it avoids that trap of feeling like you're failing if it feels hard. And the quote attributed to one of the authors, Raka Farheza Wijana, in the self-confidence section that's incredibly powerful too. It says, "Dalam setiap kegagalan kekuatan mental kita yang tengah diuji. Sebaliknya dalam kesuksesan kerendahan hati kita lah yang tengah diuji. In every failure, it is our mental strength that is being tested. Conversely, in success, it is our humility that is being tested." Wow, that reframes both failure and success as tests of character, not just capability.
That quote adds so much depth, doesn't it? It suggests positive thinking isn't just about feeling good. It's about building profound mental fortitude to navigate challenges without being crushed and maintaining perspective and humility when things go well. It's about character development through life's ups and downs. And another key takeaway is the foreword's opening statement about the book's aim: to guide readers to mengubah pola pikir dalam dirinya untuk selalu berpikir positif. Change their mindset within themselves to always think positively. The emphasis is squarely on internal change, shifting those internal thought patterns, which ties back perfectly to the back cover's point about the wrong way of thinking.
Those phrases really act as anchors for the message, don't they? Acknowledge the struggle, see challenges and successes as tests, and focus on internal transformation.
So pulling all of this together now, based on the structure, the chapter titles, those key quotes, what's the overarching message about becoming a positive person that emerges from this collaborative collection?
Well, it seems very clear it's not being pitched as some magic fix or just saying positive affirmations without doing the work. It's presented much more as a set of skills, a conscious choice, and importantly, an ongoing practice that requires discipline, consistent effort, and a willingness to face challenges and fears head on. It involves actively managing your thoughts and reactions.
Right. It's deeply practical and grounded in real life, offering guidance for study stress, work challenges, family harmony, even handling fear of rejection. The book powerfully connects that inner world of thoughts and confidence directly to the outer world of actions, responsibilities, relationships, and goals. And the fact that it's written by students, by learners actively exploring these ideas through writing and sharing, adds this unique layer of authenticity and relatability. It feels like a shared journey. It shows positivity isn't some destination only experts reach, but an ongoing path anyone can walk, learning as they go. It's knowledge gained and shared through the act of learning and creating.
It strongly suggests the journey to becoming a truly positive person is continuous. It requires persistent, conscious effort in managing our reactions, actively building confidence grounded in effort, and applying these principles consistently across all parts of life, not just when it's easy. So what does all of this mean for you listening right now? This deep dive into Menjadi Pribadi Positif really shows us that cultivating a positive mindset is far from passive. It's a deliberate act requiring strategy, discipline, practice. And its principles are applicable whether you're tackling exams, facing work challenges, navigating family dynamics, or just dealing with everyday life.
It encourages us to look inward, to become aware of our default thinking patterns, how we might be amplifying problems or dwelling on negatives. It urges us to embrace discipline and effort as necessary allies in shifting those patterns. It reminds us of the power of active choices, choosing not to dwell, choosing gratitude. Ultimately, it shows that even small, consistent steps in consciously changing our perspective can lead to significant improvements in how we experience the world and pursue our goals.
It's a powerful reminder, isn't it, that knowledge about positive thinking is valuable, but it's the consistent, conscious, disciplined effort to apply it in our daily thoughts and actions that constitutes the real work and leads to lasting change.
Perhaps the final thought to leave you with as we wrap up this deep dive is this. If a group of students, through the structured act of learning,
The discipline of writing and the power of collaboration could come together and produce a book full of practical insights on positive living. What personal transformations might you unlock simply by dedicating conscious, disciplined effort to reshaping your own daily thoughts, reactions, and actions, starting right now?